I spent over 2 hours on a live stream testing the best talents for Starlight Stoneborn, the best single target damage pet for Temporal Vortex. If your team is all about single target damage, you want to watch this video. Yesterday the Dauntless team, I'll cover that in a separate video dedicated to Dauntless team, did 3.1 billion damage. I improved the pet, improved the talents, tested multiple talents on live stream as well, and managed to do over 4 billion damage today, as you can see here, using the same team. Obviously, I did test all of the talents. I'll go over that testing with you. And if you want to see how I've done the tests, make sure you watch that live stream, as that would be ages of me explaining. But first of all, what this pet does, his skill will apply vulnerability to single target. So this is why it's so good against single target bosses like Temporal Vortex. This increases damage taken by the boss by 8%. Obviously, it's affected by the quality, but you will most likely try and get your hands on the mythic one. So I tested the value of the raw stats compared to talents, and I had a talent that increases the attack of the familiar by 30%, and it did not do as well as other talents, so I booted it. I started with 3 stars and eventually fused the familiar to 6-star to check all of the talents and came up with the best build. When it comes to the Temporal Vortex, if you're playing teams like Dauntless, Beldel, for example, your main damage dealers will be in the front row. With high inspirations, it's easier to survive than with low inspirations. So, to mitigate the damage your damage dealers take, we will bring generic defense. This reduces AoE damage taken by allies by 8%. Now, there are also other talents that reduce the damage, but they will not reduce as much damage as that. Now think, when it comes to the endgame and Continental Challenge, most of the damage is taken from AoE hits. In Season 3, we will be fighting against Ascetius, and he does AoE damage, so this will help us. In general, it will be better than the generic 3% damage reduction. This is what helped my team survive even with Inspiration 5. Now, when it comes to offensive talents, as you can see, I'm gonna use 4 mythics, which are hard to get. Don't get me wrong, you can fuse different familiars to achieve that, but it is going to be really hard. So this is an endgame build. However, this talent, a legendary, increases allies crit damage by 10%, is way better than another mythic talent, as we are building our Dauntless team, even Beldel, with crit rate. Obviously, for Beldel, you might consider going for crit rate, that is 4%, but overall, general, this will give you a huge boost. It did give me a significant boost when it comes to all my Dauntless heroes. There are other talents, as I said, those will be mythic, which is way harder to get. You can obtain it from fusion. You can also get 1 chest per season, and you can choose the talent you want to replace with that chest, and I explained that in my previous video as well as live stream. So once you get your survivability fixed, because remember, lower inspiration, you might consider bringing a talent that will increase the shield, the healing, more damage mitigation, but once you get sorted, it's all about damage. So we're gonna use Vulture Majesty. When ally uses an ultimate skill, their damage dealt is increased by 6% for 10 seconds. So on this 18-second rotation, this is a huge upkeep. And obviously, we will also use it with Witch's Remain, rotation, etc. So this damage is really good. Also, when we use an ultimate, we will gain permanent 1% attack up, which stacks to 6% attack. This is quite good. And obviously, when it comes to the order of these talents, just pick whatever you can get your hands on, because as you see, they are mythic, so they're not easy, but all of them will increase your damage. Next, increase single target damage dealt by allies by 5%. This is significant boost to all your single target damage dealers, which is really good for heroes like Beldel, Nastienka, Guinevere, and even Flora. We will also use Spiker Pursuit, a skill that increases allies' damage dealt to targets with the defense penalty debuff by 6%. All of our teams will use Witch's Remain, so we will benefit from it significantly by increasing our damage by 6%. The chests with that grants you talent I mentioned are available in the familiar shop, and here you can choose one of the mythic talents available in this box and multiple legendary talents from this one. So as you can see on the test server, I have access to all of the scrolls, and I've tried this one. So allies ignores 5% of enemy defense. This gave me less damage than the crit damage boost from this one. As I said, you might consider going with extra healing or extra shield if you struggle to survive. And if your main team uses enlightenment based heroes like Flora, this will be better than the crit damage talent. And Beldel might use something like that instead of the crit damage. As I said, I tried this legendary talent and the damage given was lower than any of the previously mentioned talents, but again, if you need extra HP or defense, you might consider one of them as they're quite easy to obtain. So Starlight Stoneborn will be the best pet for Temporal Vortex when it comes to single target teams. Those who will use AoE will use slightly different familiar, but maybe if I got time I will cover that as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, stay safe, bye!